It is the 22nd day of February 2025. Here at KUTV Weekend Live, we have lots of stories lined up for you and trust you're doing well. But first, the highlights. Now, remember that this broadcast is live across all our social media platforms. On YouTube, it's KUTV News Kenya. On X, it's KUTV_Kenya. And Lucy Kerry is our sign language interpreter. My name is Ochieng Cynthia. Welcome. Now, Kenyans will in future be automatically issued identification cards upon turning 18 years old based on data collection from birth. This is according to Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who says the government had put all measures to ensure the process was seamless without contravening its security protocols. Murkomen defended the vetting system, which has been poked by critics who see it as a political move to drum support for the communities along the border, maintaining that it is aimed at ensuring there is equality in the country.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has defended President William Ruto's directive to abolish the extra vetting process for Kenyans in northeastern region seeking national identity cards, assuring that the move does not compromise national security.
What has happened is that the processes that we are going to apply now in terms of identifying who has got an ID, who has not got, is to leverage on the existing data across the board to establish who you are.
Speaking in Naivasha, Murkomen stated that Kenyans will no longer need to apply for IDs manually, as the ministry planned to leverage technology to capture an individual data at birth, and once they reach the required age, they will automatically receive their ID.
You can't just wake up at some point and at 18 you discover that you need an ID. We have your information since you went to school. We have your information when you go for services. We have the information of your family. We have your family tree across the board. So you can't just come back and say, I want to be a citizen.
Earlier this month, President William Ruto signed an executive order halting the compulsory vetting of ID applicants in the northeastern region, describing the process as discriminatory. The vetting requirement exclusively targeted residents from the 6 counties: Tana River, Mandera, Garissa, Wajir, Isiolo and Marsabit.
Sema ile vetting ambayo imesumbua wananchi wa Northern Kenya kwa miaka 60. Leo nimesema hiyo maneno ya vetting iondolewe, ndio vijana wote wa Kenya wapate vitambulisho vile wa Kenya wengine wanapata vitambulisho bila ya matatizo.
However, the decision has sparked mixed reaction. Several leaders criticized the move, labeling it as ill advice and warning of potential diplomatic and security repercussions.
And what I want to ask the government of Kenya, and the president in particular, as we welcome the move, do we have the capacity to protect against infiltration by persons who are not Kenyan citizens? Do we have the capacity to man and protect the Kenyan borders that are porous and that border Somalia?
Watu wengi ambao wanatafuta vitambulisho northeastern ni wa Somali, kutoka Somalia. Na wao wanakuja hata vetting committee wanaipatia pesa, alafu wanapewa vitambulisho. Sasa hiyo committee imetolewa na kuna alternative.
Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka accused the president of using the move to rig the 2027 general elections, a claim that drew sharp criticism from his former deputy Dadaab member of parliament Farah Maalim. Maalim expressed outrage, emphasizing that the communities in the region will not tolerate any form of mistreatment or discrimination.
My friend Kalonzo Musyoka, he himself is the one who told me the original name of Mwingi, where he comes from, was Kwafara. That town was started by a Somali trader called Farah, not less than 78 years before the British landed in our country here. In Uganda, what we are saying is that these border regions, this unfair vetting discrimination in which intelligence will take 6 months or even a year or 10 years to vet people should stop, so that we all Kenyans have a right. And this does not only apply to us, by the way, it's going to apply to all the border regions. Because all the
we are also responsible in ensuring that Kenyans enjoy rights equally without undue discrimination. And I want to assure you here that the fact that we removed the extra vetting does not mean that we have compromised on security. We will never, ever compromise on the security of the country.
The Interior Cabinet Secretary reiterated that the ministry will utilize existing government data, including information captured in schools during government services applications and family tree records, to streamline the ID issuance process.
We will see who is your father, who is your mother, who is your sister, who is your uncle. So technology will have helped.
Stories now. The police unit, alongside other security agencies, have kick-started an investigation into the cause of a wildfire that broke out on a section of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport yesterday. The Kenya Airports Authority has confirmed that the fire was contained within non-operational grassland areas, causing no damage to critical infrastructure or operational zones of the busy airport, all thanks to the fire extinguisher team that were present. And as a result, according to the Kenya Airports Authority, no injuries were reported during the incident. And Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has called for accountability in the recruitment of new commissioners to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC. Kalonzo has called for an open and biased process so as to obtain a credible team to execute the roles of the electoral body. A total of 1,848 Kenyans have applied for the positions of chairperson and members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC. The 9-member panel, chaired by Nelson Makanda, also includes Dr. Fatuma Saman, Professor Adam Solo, James Masati, Nicodemus Bore, Koki Muli, Andrew Tanui, and Caroline Kituku is tasked with selecting the next team of 7 IEBC commissioners within 85 days. One person is due for appointment as chairperson for 6 persons for independent as members.
Ameapply yale alikuwa Chebukati amelala, Mungu amlaze vema. Alright? Wale wengine ambao watakuja sasa watakuwa wenye kuwajibika, na tutahakikisha wako na uwajibikaji. Pasipo hiyo, always the route. You can't compromise the future of these little kids. This country is beautiful. We'll make sure it remains beautiful for future generations. Na vijana muwe hapo, kila mtu apate haki yake. So hiyo IEBC ikiwa mamlakani mpya, by May we'll have a new IEBC. Okay? Ikiwa ni hivi basi, commission hiyo ikiwa tume mpya, wahakikisha hakuna wizi, na tutahakikisha hakuna wizi. And so Njiru Ndegwa, sasa ya mwisho mimi ni listen. We cannot even afford to shake our judiciary. It's the only thing standing. Ya jamaa wengine wanataka wamtafutie Kasongo njia ya kusema hakuna uchaguzi. Haiwezekani. Hata mahakama pia vile ambao wanashikilia, we cannot have them completely disoriented because it will be terrible. We are a country under the rule of law and our constitution.
And leaders across Kenya have joined the nation in mourning the passing of former Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati, who died while undergoing or undertaking treatment at the Nairobi hospital. His demise has been met with an outpouring of grief and tributes, with many highlighting his invaluable contribution to Kenya's electoral system and thereby calling on the government to grant him a state funeral. Theo Masharia with more.
Acknowledging his role in shaping the country's democratic process, particularly during the 2017 and 2022 general elections. Speaking at Olposi Moru Trading Center while launching various development projects, Ntutu described Chebukati as a dedicated patriot whose efforts in upholding electoral integrity will forever be remembered in Kenya's history.
Tunajua Chebukati alitufanyia kazi nzuri sana wakati tulipokuwa tunachaguliwa. Mimi nataka tu niseme kwa familia, mama na watoto wake na jamii yote ya Kenya ya kwamba natoa hizo pole na tunasema Mungu awasaidie familia wakati huu ngumu. Tutakuwa pamoja tukisaidiana tukienda mbele.
East Africa Legislative Assembly Member of Parliament David Sankok also mourned Chebukati, describing him as a courageous and brave leader. He further urged Kenyans to be respectful during this period of mourning and to refrain from sharing insensitive messages online that could cause more pain to the bereaved family. His remarks being echoed by Narok County Majority Leader.
Mungu aweze kuatia nguvu wakati huu mgumu, na nataka kuomba vijana wale wengine wako kwa mtandao tusiongeza uchungu kwa familia ya Chebukati. Kifo ni ya kila mtu, sisi wote tulisaliwa na bila shaka sisi wote tutakuja kutoka kwa hii ulimwengu.
In the same tune, a section of leaders are calling on the government to grant Chebukati a state funeral in recognition of his patriotism and steadfastness in safeguarding Kenya's democracy. Led by Gatondo South Member of Parliament Gabriel Kagombe, the leaders emphasized that Chebukati's unwavering stand for the truth during the 2022 elections was instrumental in preventing potential violence similar to the 2007 post-election crisis.
Nchi hii ingepasuka, vita vingetokea, na tunaona kwamba yeye alisimama kidete na akasema ukweli. Yale mambo ambayo yalileta vita ya 2007 ni kwa sababu yule aliyekuwepo wakati huo hakusimama kidete, lakini huyu Chebukati alisimama na akapeana ukweli. Mimi nasema huyo ni shujaa ambaye anafaa kupatiwa heshima yake, na mimi najua hata nchi hii na serikali hii itampatia mazishi ama buriani ya kufaa kwa mtu ambaye ni wa status yake kama shujaa wa Kenya.
A section of locals also expressed their sorrow over the former IEBC chairman's passing on, stating that Kenya had suffered a significant loss, especially at a time when the Electoral Commission is not yet fully constituted.
Kwa vile hii kamati ingine inataka kuteuliwa, tutaona kama tumelose kidogo. Juu Chebukati wangekuwa wanaenda kwake, wanamuuliza mambo inaendaje kwa IBC. Sasa hiyo ni mkosi tu, but we'll get a good commissioners.
Wafula Chebukati namkumbuka kama mtu alifanya kazi yake vizuri, na alifanya kazi kulingana na venye kulikuwa hata na wasiwasi na hapa na pale. Alijaribu kusimama na msimamo wake na akasimama na Kenya venye iko.
As the nation continues to mourn, many have called on the new IEBC commissioners to remain impartial and uphold the values that Chebukati exemplified in his service to Kenya's democracy. His legacy as a firm, principled and patriotic leader remains etched in the nation's electoral history. Theo Masharia for KUTV.
And to political story now, the Orange Democratic Party, ODM, has begun initiatives to strengthen the party in Mombasa after party leaders Governor Gladys Wanga, Governor Abdul Swamad, together with other ODM leaders met with grassroots delegates at Likoni, where they put into action their plans to ensure they capture power in 2027. Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi now says that Raila Odinga's AUC loss will now determine who Raila's true friends are.
Just days after the fall of Raila Odinga in the African Union Commission chairpersonship race, Raila Odinga's supporters seem to be in conflict mode, with the Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi claiming that this is the time to know the true friends of Raila. The CS said this while attending the burial ceremony of Professor Alan Bartwell Ogot at the Maseno University Odera Kongo campus in Yala. In Mombasa, the Orange Democratic Movement Deputy Party Leader Governor Abdulswamad Nasir and the party chairperson Gladys Wanga led initiatives of strengthening the ODM party, meeting with grassroots delegates in Likoni in a move that they call putting the house in order.
If we want to strengthen ODM, lazima to strengthen grassroots. This is where the chama is. If we want to strengthen our chairperson, lazima to strengthen hapa kwa grassroots. Otherwise, chairperson na deputy party leader watakuwa wakitembea tu na titles bila nguvu.
Tutazunguka katika maeneo yote yale yako katika Mombasa hii kuona wale waliochaguliwa katika mashinani, katika chama cha wapendwa, chama kinachopendwa, chama kikubwa zaidi, chama ambacho kwamba tuko katika mwaka wa 20. Hakuna chama kingine katika maeneo haya ambacho kimeweza kustahamili, kushikana, kuwa na mwelekeo mmoja kama chama cha ODM.
The ODM party has pledged to form government come 2027 in all legal ways possible.
Kwa hivyo sahihi tunajitayarisha vilivyo. We are preparing ourselves to capture power come 2027. Na njia ya kwenda kwa power ni njia mingi. Tutafuata njia yoyote ya haki na iko katika sheria ya kisheria tufike katika power come 2027.
The ODM party leaders have urged ODM delegates and supporters across the country to remain loyal to the party, even after Raila Odinga lost the AUC bid, saying that the loyal shall be rewarded. Blue Smile Hassan, KUTV.
Days after the University Academic Staff Union WASU threatened to stage protests demanding the removal of Professor Amukowa Anangwe as the University of Nairobi Council chairperson over alleged interference and sabotage of the university's operations, the Ministry of Education has annulled his appointment as the University of Nairobi Council chairperson. In a Gazette notice dated Friday, February 21st, 2025, Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogamba cancelled Professor Omukowa's role as the UON Council chair effective immediately. Earlier this week, WASU members issued a 7-day ultimatum demanding the removal of the council chair Anangwe over alleged interference and sabotage of the university's operations. And at that point, you're taking a very short breather. Be sure to stay tuned. We'll be back.
Hi, my name is Stella Tioi.
Jina langu naitwa Ochieng James.
This is Mandela Gaya.
Ugonjwa ulipokuja ulichukua siku 3 ukaniweka in coma. 20 wamezikwa, 2 ndio wako hai.
I don't even know how it feels to see.
I feel like I cannot express myself well the way somebody who can walk can actually express themselves.
Ilichukua muda mwingi mrefu tena mpana ili kuikubali kwamba mimi siwezi tembea tena.
I've come to actually accept myself.
Ukijaribu kumsimamisha mtu umwambie tafadhali nionyeshe njia,
They find it quite strange talking to you.
You should just make schools integrated,
Inclusive setups.
by providing the right facilities.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Welcome back. Now, Ugandan opposition leader Kizza Besigye is currently facing treason charges in a Ugandan magistrate's court led by Esther Nyandoi just 2 days after the court declared or delayed its decision on his medical plea through his lawyer to seek medical attention, an illness that stemmed from hunger strike. Wheeled to court in Kampala on Friday, the 68-year-old Kizza, alongside 2 other suspects, calmly listened to the pronouncement from Magistrate Esther, who stated that they had contrived a plot to overthrow the Ugandan government. Besigye, who has been critical against long-serving leader Yoweri Museveni, will remain in custody until March the 7th, when he will appear in court. Moving on, the Kenya Copyright Board, KEBOKO, has trained over 400 creatives and law enforcement officers to enhance the protection of intellectual property rights. Speaking in Narok County, acting KEBOKO Executive Director George Nyakweba stressed the importance of registering creative works to safeguard against infringement. He noted that a copyright certificate serves as legal evidence in cases of disputes. KEBOKO Deputy Director Sharon Wata urged artists to sign contracts for performance and use watermarks on digital content to prevent misuse. She encouraged creatives to report copyright violation to KEBOKO for legal assistance. The training featured intellectual property lawyers offering free legal advice and copyright registration, empowering creatives across various fields, including musicians, writers, and filmmakers.
Contracts, wasanii hawapendi contracts. Wanapenda tu kusema tuliongea na madam, tukasikizana, akaniambia kuja uniimbie kwa event yangu. Alafu hakunilipa, namwambia sawa. Mulikubaliana aje? Wapi contract? Mulisema aje? Hakuna. Tulisema tu. Make sure you sign a contract for your works. Okay? On that note, KEBOKO inapea wasanii free legal advice. Si lazima ukuje Nairobi, utapiga simu, utatuma email. Useme tafadhali, nataka wakili anisaidie kusoma hii contract, anipatie advice. Okay?
In terms of where are we based as a government agency, Kenya Copyright Board is based in Nairobi. Apparently, we are not at the county level, but what is it that we have done so that we can be able to reach every artist across the country? All the artists can be able, initially, they used to come to the office headquarters to have their copyright registered, but now that has changed.
The Alcohol Contract Act, Tobacco Control Act, the Nicotine Act are under review by the Ministry of Health to curb gaps and tighten to ensure that there is better enforcement. Dr. Andrew Toro, head of Drugs and Substance Abuse Control at the ministry, made this revelation during a sensitization program and medical camp organized for security officers. Clergy and community health leaders in ACK Church Kirinyaga County, alongside National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA, Board Vice Chancellor Anne Matthew, they noted that national government administration offices will also do more sensitization across the country with an aim of reducing drug and substance abuse.
Because when we talk about tobacco, what comes to our...
The government is committed in educating everybody in the country on the drug issue, because we have noted the prevalence of drug and substance use is increasing. It is increasing especially amongst our youth, and unless we do something, we can easily lose the next generation. So what has the government done? The first thing is we have been reviewing all the laws, be it Alcohol Control Act, be it Tobacco Control Act, be it the Narcotic Act, looking for whether there are any gaps, and so that we can now tighten the laws and policies to ensure that we are able to have better enforcement. Secondly, we want to do a lot of research together with NACADA so that we are able to establish what are the root causes. Why are people consuming drugs? What are the effects of these drugs? Why are people having suicidal tendencies, and so on and so forth?
And actually, alcohol and drug abuse goes together with crime. So that's why we had even the GAO, the security team, the area, whatever, and it's a big fight that we are fighting. Because again, we have people who are fighting, we are fighting, and there are people who are fighting us. Unaona? So we can at least come and sensitize people here, and then you find some people advertising the same thing that we are campaigning against. And now the government has committed to boosting food production through investments in irrigation, mechanization, and value chain development. Agriculture PS Dr. Kip Rono emphasized the importance of partnership with the private sector and research institutions, while highlighting initiatives like the substandard or subsidized fertilizer program. Mentioned that the Kampala Declaration of 2025 is in line with the government agenda to reduce post-harvest losses and tripling in-Africa trade in agricultural food products. The PS said this during AGRA's leadership program graduation ceremony of Center for Africa Leaders in Agriculture. Cohort 3 delegates of the Alliance for the Green Revolution Africa leadership program that was held at Nairobi, where leaders were urged to drive climate-smart agriculture and policy reforms to ensure food security and sustainability across Africa. And moving on to our by the way story, it's time to get our weekly dose of the drama that is happening in Kenyan politics by our very own Emmanuel Kutosi.
Can you have your seat now? This is common knowledge, Mr. Speaker. Can you have...
Why are you broke?
The governor has money, which he's using to do projects in the county government. The women rep has money, which she's using at the county government. Why am I not having the money as a senator?
Indeed, it can be painful.
Na umaumwa wanasema ati sasa amekuja kusema musanga lile. Hata mimi nitasema musanga lile.
Even affect your thinking.
I want my seat back. When I'm not there, I don't think very well, Mr. Speaker.
I don't know why the minority are making noise. Mr. Speaker, can you at least tell them to follow the law?
The law, you say?
Let the politicians do their politics.
Musanga lile.
Speaker, Mr. Speaker, indeed.
On my chair and I'm not bothered. You can spend even the whole month. I have no problem. I can sit any side.
That case was settled. But here come the governors.
Wale ambao wanapika, wako na sufuria, masahani, vijiko.
Tuko na mama mmoja anaitwa Profesa.
Mimi nataka niseme kina mama ni wachache sana katika nyadhifa za uongozi.
Daktari Margaret Nyakango, controller of budget.
As you all know, there is a lot of fake news all over the place.
They also want to share.
Tulisimamishwa kama serikali za county kupeana basari.
Kuambia control of budget, sisi kama governors, sisi ndio tuko pale chini.
Musanga lile.
Tunaelewa yule ambaye hajiwezi. So wezi sema ya kwamba governors hawastahili kupatiana basari.
Na anabebelisha bendera ya wapi?
At some time in the past, someone said,
hii pesa si ya mama yako bwana.
Statements that could make you feel very uncomfortable.
I don't know how long I'll remain in this office.
Musiuziwe uoga.
Nimekupenda tena zaidi.
Well, neither did he.
Wewe bana leta kichwa ngumu usiende kukoroga ile maneno imepitishwa hapa na wabunge.
Like Baba, he had to say adios.
Umeona tunashikana na Mlembe Nation. Na hapo Mlembe Nation ndio naona amekwamia hapo.
Wanaumaumwa wanasema ati sasa amekuja kusema musanga lile.
I think this is last hope.
Kiona rais Western Kenya wanaumaumwa.
Sometimes you can't help but wonder.
Katiba ya Kenya imechelewa kidogo. Our destiny as a nation has been delayed.
Harun,
chunga leni yako.
By the way,
nimekupenda tena zaidi.
And to sports news, the national sevens men's team Shujaa endured a rough start to their Vancouver 7S campaign, suffering back-to-back defeat against dominant Argentina and 2024 Olympic champions France. Argentina's physical dominance was on another class, proving to be too much for Kenya as Moneta completed his hat-trick before halftime, subjecting Kenya to 24-0 defeat in their opening match in Pool A before being subjected to similar fate by France. Kenya's final match will be against Great Britain at 10:58 in a do-or-die affairs to fight for survival. Anchor closes. Now at that point, we wrap up KUTV Weekend Live. It has been a great pleasure staying with you. Lucy Kiari has been our sign language interpreter. My name is Ochieng, Cynthia. Till next time, keep it here at KUTV. Good night. Yeah.